Welcome to episode 4 of the For the Law of Cricket podcast with Jim and Akim. We'll be discussing the game over the weekend between, tomorrow between South Africa and Sri Lanka. Um, the team form coming into this tournament over the last World Cup cycle. South Africa has played 37 games and they have won 21. They average 40 runs per wicket when batting at a run rate of 6, and they concede 30 runs per wicket, and they take each wicket at 5.8 runs per over. On the other hand, Sri Lanka has played probably the most amount of games of all the teams. They have completed 54 games, of which they have won 30. The problem is only 13 of those wins were against teams currently at the World Cup, and they average 30 runs when batting, and they score at 5, and they concede 30 runs per wicket as well. It's going at the same amount of runs per over. You have anything?
I think we found a Sri Lanka team that is in a bit of a transition. They have been for a bit of a while now. The likes of Mahela and Sangakkara no longer playing, and they've found it difficult to find, I would say, nailed-on players to step up to the mantle and be consistent over a number of years. So this is very much a team that's in a transitionary period. Not only losing the likes of Mahela and Sangakkara, but they've also lost people like Rangana Herath. Angelo Matthews isn't with this World Cup squad as well, so they've lost a number of stalwarts and consistent players over the years. So this is, it would probably come as a new look Sri Lanka team to many of the viewers and many people watching this World Cup. So they're in an interesting phase of their development and their cricket.
Speaking of that transition, I think two players that have been quite disappointing for them since 2015 would be Akila Dhananjaya as well as Dinesh Chandimal.
Dinesh Chandimal. I would agree with you. Chandimal is someone that has been playing for a while now.
He was a captain at once.
Yeah, he was once a captain. He's played all formats, but something doesn't really seem to have clicked with him, and nailing down a place in Sri Lanka in all three formats with somebody of his potential. You think that was what was on the cards when he burst onto the international scene. He looked like someone that would have played 3 formats for Sri Lanka for the next 10-15 years, and that really has not been the case for probably a number of reasons, but it just has not been the case. Akil Dhananjaya's form has also not been great.
He hasn't played in 2 years.
He hasn't played in 2 years. I think the last time he played was it in the series against the West Indies, or he played just after that? Played just after that. But you would remember in the series against the West Indies where Karen Pollard hit him for 6 sixes in the T20 series. So he's someone that has also tailed off a bit, and he is someone that I'm sure that they had high hopes on. So interesting.
So looking at the recent form for both teams, South Africa has won 75% of the last games that they've played. So they have won 8 of 12. They won, they defeated England in England. They split the series in West Indies. They won against Australia at home, 3-2, and they also played against Netherlands at home and won those 2 games. Sri Lanka has won 8 of the last 10, including their unbeaten run in the Asia Cup. No, not unbeaten in the Asia Cup, they were unbeaten in the World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah, in the qualifiers.
In the Asia Cup, they lost 2 games in a round of 4 to India, and they also lost the final to India where they were
Yeah.
all over 50.
50 in the final. Yeah. That was disappointing.
And the last time they were in India, they lost 3-0. Can you take a look at what's in with South Africa?
Well, the South African players, I would say they come into this World Cup in a rich vein of form. Most of the top order batsmen are in very good nick. I think the only person who might have some doubts around his form is probably Rassie van der Dusen. His form has not been at his usual high standards because his one day average is well beyond 60. His form in Asia as well isn't great. He averages high 20s in Asia compared to an average of 60, so 60 plus. So doesn't seem to do that well on the subcontinent. But when you look at the form of the likes of the captain, Temba Bavuma, Quinton de Kock is in very good form as well. Aiden Markram, brilliant form. David Millot, fine form this year as well. He has like 5 half centuries in 11 innings this year. And they look like a batting unit that is firing. And how can we forget someone like Klassen? Especially after that 170 plus knock a couple of weeks ago. So when you look at the batting unit that South Africa entered the tournament with, they are probably the unit that looks the most dangerous on paper and the unit that looks most in form. So we're looking forward to seeing them. They're an exciting team, so it should be interesting times ahead. We know how the story generally goes with South African teams at World Cups, but maybe this one could be the one, James.
I don't think so. Their bowling lineup isn't as strong as they would want it to be. Narca is missing.
Yeah, it's a key loss.
As well as, Narca is missing. He's their middle overs wicket taker. And their main depth bowler, Magala, is also missing.
It's a key loss.
Heavier workload and
Kagiso.
Rabada. And what's the other fast bowler?
Koitzer.
No, not Courtesy.
The left armour.
Yeah. Marco Jansen.
Jansen, Marco Jansen.
Alright, so there'll be more pressure on Rabada with the new ball. Marco Jansen as well. Courtesy is a young bowler.
Yeah.
And we know Maharaj will be carrying the spin attack. And Shamsi should be supporting him.
I'm always excited to see Shamsi bowl. He's a character, and I like him. I like him because he's a character. He's a wicket taker. He has his fancy celebrations, and he is somebody that could set this tournament alight. We've already spoken about the strength of the South African batting unit, and you'd like to think that if that unit clicks, they would love the bowling unit to come out and execute and do the job. And I believe that in Asia, in India specifically, Shamsi and Maharaj, but Shamsi especially with his wicket-taking ability, could be a very key performer for them throughout the whole tournament.
I actually don't think he'll be playing all the games.
Yeah.
This game will be in Delhi. It's a spinning wicket. Spins a lot. The last time a team has scored 300 areas in 2011.
It's a while.
And no team has ever chased over 300 on this ground. So it's a fairly low scoring ground. It isn't the typical one day wicket. That is true. So I think Shamsi will be in for this game. But looking back at Rabada, he is basically the leader of the attack now.
Definitely.
He's only played 5 one-day games this year, and he has been average at best. He's also struggled in the last World Cup where he averaged 36 with the ball and
Yeah.
only took 11 wickets. In fact, he has struggled in all forms of white ball cricket since the last World Cup, with the exception being the T20 World Cup in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
That was in the UAE. He has also been struggling in the IPL.
Yeah, he has been.
He's the last IPL he went at over 35 per wicket. So that is something to look at for them.
Yeah, Norkia will be a key miss for sure. Will be a key miss in the seam bowling department, and it will put heavy responsibility on Kagisa. And he might be somebody that teams look to target going into the tournament.
There's also a heavy spotlight on Sri Lanka's captain, Dasun Shanaka. Since he scored his second one-day century in January against India, he has averaged 10
With a bat.
10 with the bat and has been striking at 76. I think his performance, well, he was not a shoo-in for selection coming into the World Cup, but I guess they found it difficult picking another captain, and apparently the team supports him. So they have gone ahead with him as captain for the World Cup. If his struggles continue, I don't see him playing the entire tournament.
Yeah,
it's a 9-game tournament, and if he fails 3 or 4 more times, he should be on the chopping block. And his career basically is resting on his performances in this tournament. Additionally, he won't be bowling.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
He has an injury cloud over him, and he is just basically barely passed a fitness test going into the game tomorrow. Anything else you'd like to add?
Not much on him. You've said you have given us a very detailed synopsis on him.
Regarding the 11 for Sri Lanka, you have any idea of who would be key, or any other players that could be missing?
I think the key players will be the ones who are slightly more experienced in this squad. When you think of the likes of Akusal Pereira, Dhananjaya De Silva, Kusal Mendes, those are 3 players and Patum Nisanka, those are 4 players I think who will be very important for Sri Lanka in this tournament. Not the strongest squad on paper and not the strongest squad in terms of experience. So you think of the players who have been around for a bit of a while and have had some sort of success even in other formats, in Test cricket especially. You think of somebody like Nisanka, who will be at the top of the order more than likely. So you think of those players, and those are people who will need to stand up and be counted for Sri Lanka in this tournament.
So other notable misses for Sri Lanka, Asaranga has an hamstring injury.
It's a massive loss.
Shamira is missing as well,
Yeah.
and I don't think Tikshana will be playing.
Yeah.
So he's the main spinner.
It's a big miss.
So they'll be going in with Patirana to replace Shamira, who is also just coming off an injury as well. He missed the Asia Cup.
Yeah.
And Madhu Shankar will be the main new ball bowler, as well as Kumara. So Kumara has some experience. The other two,
Not so much.
not so much. They have less than 12 games between them. You have any other points to add about this game? who you think will be
The victorious.
victorious?
I remember.
What will the matchups you think?
Um,
How do you go about getting through that strong South Africa batting lineup?
It will be very difficult when you think about South Africa and at the top of the order. It would be very likely be De Kock and Bavuma the captain. Bavuma is generally the glue in that partnership. Quinton the aggressor. Quinton is brilliant in Asia. Very good IPL player, and then his ODI average in Asia, I believe, is 47 or 48, and he has a couple centuries there as well. And you when you look at somebody like Quinton, especially the mood and form that he's been in recently, he's just looking to go out and dominate.
Yeah, he's very comfortable.
He's very comfortable. He's just looking to dominate.
On the verge of retirement.
Yeah. He is on the verge of retirement and going to the franchise league, so this could really be the last hurrah for him with South Africa and trying to win a World Cup with them. And I think he's somebody with a point to prove in this World Cup, especially on his last. A lot has been said in the media about his choices and his decisions, but he will be going out guns blazing for South Africa. So it's him and Bavuma up top, and then you think about the middle order, everybody coming in form. The likes of Rassi, not so much in form, but then you think of Markram, Klaas, and David Miller, and then it just looks like a tricky proposition for Sri Lanka. What you can say though, and what I strongly believe in, is that wickets and early wickets will always create pressure and they will always create doubt in a team. South Africa coming into the tournament in good form and coming into this game in good form, and they would be probably heavily touted to win this game. Some wickets will get into that and will get into the psyche. They know of their reputation as being the almost team, and you could almost say chokers in World Cups. So a few jitters there, and you could never know what you would get them down or how much pressure you could apply, how the game could turn. So that should be the game plan for Sri Lanka. Wickets, early wickets especially, to the South Africa team.
I think South Africa are generally good early on in tournaments. It's when
It's later on.
the results that they need starts playing on the mind. So the next round, if they are tied like fourth place to go through to the semi-finals with somebody else, then they tend to falter. But outside that, they generally win the games they're supposed to win. I think this would be a one-sided affair with South Africa.
That's a bold call. I remember I made a bold call in the first game. You're
Well,
making a bold one here.
But that was between
Two
teams that were finalists.
That's fair.
So should be an interesting game. If South Africa can get through the couple of spinners,
Yeah, the challenger spin
challenge. But if they bat first and get a score above like 240, 250, around there, with the bowling attack that they have,
Yeah.
they should be okay, and their seamers are experienced in those conditions. Both the opening bowlers are IPL players, and then they have the two spinners, and then they have Coatsy who can bowl in excess of 90 miles per hour
And
easily.
Markram might chip in with some overs as well.
Yeah, he's been bowling a lot.
Yeah, he has been.
Alright. That's it from us for this episode. Thanks for watching.
South Africa for the win.
Alright.